Okay, real talk. If one more person says to me, take a bubble bath to fix burnout, might actually scream. Okay, you tried self care, you journaled, you've meditated, you got the candles, the skincare routine, you've even got a 50 quid planner, and yet you still feel like a walking corpse. You want to know why? Because burnout isn't a you problem, okay? It's a life setup problem. And if you don't start deleting the crap that's draining you, deciding what actually matters, and dialing in the stuff that does work, no amount of lavender oil is going to save you. So let's unfuck it. Okay, so one of the major things that I see with clients that come to me and they're just like, Obi, my life is a fucking mess. I need to sort it. There's a few different things that I can usually spot straight away. And the big one that is really contributing to burnout is decision fatigue. You've probably heard all about it, but decision fatigue, for those that you don't know, is just where your brain cannot fucking handle any more decisions. Okay, we've got so many things to decide. Now, if you are a woman with a family and kids, you'll know exactly what I mean. Because you are having to make decisions all day at work or in your business. You have to make decisions for your kids. You have to make decisions for yourself, probably your partner as well, unless you've got one of those rare unicorn ones that's like properly trained. You have to make decisions for the fucking dog, the hamster, PTA, your friends, your family, everybody. Which is why your brain feels like it's got 16 tabs open. One of them's got a dancing cat in it, and the music, God knows where that's coming from. And that's because you've got so many things in your head. But it's not just the decisions that you are making that are causing this kind of like absolute nonsense going on up there. It's the decisions you're not making as well. They're adding to it. So, for example, if you know that your finances are a mess, for example, but every month you kind of just quietly put all the stuff away, you turn off the notifications from your credit card company, you don't want to deal with it, that's a decision that you're also making, and your brain is holding on to it because it knows that it needs to be done, but you've decided not to. So it's staying in your brain. Does that make sense? So decision isn't just what you are deciding on, it's also avoiding the decisions that you do have to make. And I understand that, completely understand that. Honestly, I want to try and help you get out of that feeling of burnout and just absolute like, what the fuck? Because I've been there and it's not pleasant and it's not nice and I don't want that for you. And if I can help you by sitting here for 20 minutes with a cup of coffee, having sort of cleared enough clutter out the way so you actually think that I've got my life together too, because nobody's 100% perfect, darling. And once you let go of that perfection, there you go, there's a little gem for you. Let go of the perfection because nobody's perfect. All I'm doing is helping you with the stuff that has worked for me, that's got me to the kind of lifestyle that I've got now where I bloody love my life. My life is awesome. So I love it. I think it's great. And I'd love that for you as well. So decision fatigue is one of the biggest things that I see with people coming through my digital doors, if you like. And it's heartbreaking because you don't have to make all those decisions. And if you need any more kind of convincing that decision fatigue is killing you, look at all the successful people. Okay, they have their lives set up to avoid decision fatigue, avoid decisions really. And I know that sounds weird because you've got people like the late Steve Jobs, obviously in control of a very big company. Didn't he have to make lots of decisions? Yes, he did, but he knew which decisions to make. He knew which battles to go for and which that were just no bueno, which is why he wore the same thing pretty much all the time. Zuckerberg, he wears pretty much the same thing all the time, probably because lizard tailors only make for one particular type of body style. These people all wear the same thing. Successful people. We're not talking about Elon Musk because I fucking hate that man. He looks like a toad that's got ideas above his station. The man is just. Right, so I've got over myself, thank you. I've got a fresh cup of coffee, and the lawyers have asked me to read this prepared statement. The views expressed in this video are completely our own and our right. The man is a colossal wanker, and it is our legal position that it ain't slander if it's true. Thanks, Jeremy. But anyway, so now you can see that the most successful people in the world, they know that this kind of decision fatigue is what really, really kills you. So they purposefully set up their lives, set up their day to day to remove as many of those nonsense decisions as possible. And that's kind of what we're going to do. Okay. So this is what I did to get myself out of burnout. And this is the system that I teach. I've got a couple of programs. I've got the 30-day live reset, which comes via email every day, little task for you to do. I'll link to all these in the description, by the way. That one is completely self-taught. So if you want a little bit more help, then we do have our TBLU, the Big Life Unfuck, which is a yearly membership. You've got a group. We do live calls once a week. Great support network, and I'm there to help you out with a little bit of this. It's a bit more prescriptive for those people who want a bit more sort of hands-on help. So options down below, but I want to make sure that I cover things like this in my videos so you don't feel like you have to buy stuff from me in order to get out of the hole that you're in, because darling, I've been there and it's not fun and I don't want that for you anymore. Okay, so you can take what I tell you in the videos and you can help yourself to do these things. I just got options for people who want a little bit more help, a little more hand holding. Okay, so the first thing I do with people that come to me, and it's pretty obvious it's decision fatigue, we delete. I've got 3 pillars that I use in my system: delete, decide, and dial it in. So the first one is deleting. You can't rest in chaos, my darling. Clutter and noise and all this stuff. You know what it's like when you go around your mate's house and they're not 100% okay. The house has started to slip. Maybe your desk is messy. They've maybe conditioned the hair today. She says being very self-conscious about her own hair. Your environment does kind of match your mental state. It's true. There is a definite relationship there. It's this kind of clutter that is causing a lot of this decision fatigue, because like I said, it's not just what you do make decisions on, it's what you're avoiding as well, because that's also a decision that your brain is holding on to, going, yeah, we've decided not to do that. It's still a decision. So the first thing we do is we're deleting, okay? We are decluttering because we don't want this high cortisol kind of environment. Cortisol is that hormone that has you in fight or flight, okay? It also deals with blood sugar, which is probably why you're mainlining donuts. So we're going to reduce that cortisol, that stress response, because then we want you to get used to how that feels, because a lot of people are addicted to having high cortisol. They're addicted to that kind of stress. It's like that when you come out of an abusive relationship and then you go into like a normal relationship. It feels boring. It feels weird because you're used to that kind of like high, kind of like always being in that stress response. So I do this in my 30-day life reset, but we break it down into 4 weeks. Okay, the first one is physical, because you can't get away from it, physical clutter. So we go through the main areas, including your car, and we just get rid of this stuff that every time you're walking past it, your brain is registering it and going, yeah, we're deciding not to do that. That's another decision. Ping. Then we go into digital decluttering, because we have got a digital life. We spend a lot of time in what Meta want to call a metaverse, Second Life styling. We have 1,000 photos on our phone of our lunch, or of screenshots of stuff that you said, recipes you were going to make, but you obviously haven't. Your hard drive probably looks like a digital charity shop and a digital jumble sale had a digital baby. So we clean all that lot out. Social decluttering. Now we've got a little bit of breathing room, we start social decluttering. So again, you know that friend that when you see the phone name pop up on the phone, you're like, oh, no, not you. So, like, we dial those relationships back in order to make space for what is. We're weeding your life, essentially. If your life is a garden, we're giving it a damn good weed. We're setting boundaries with people who maybe have been taking advantage of the fact that you want to help everybody, but you can't, because you need to help yourself first, my darling, and it's as simple as that. And then the last week, we actually go into the third pillar, which is streamlining. We start streamlining what is actually working for us. So, but that is the first thing that we're going to do. We're going to delete all the stuff that is causing this decision fatigue. And then we're going to go into the second pillar of what I do, which is deciding. They say when you have a habit that you want to break, say smoking, for example, you want to break that, you need to replace it with something else, because you're used to having this kind of habit, which is why people go from smoking to vaping, or smoking to vaping to fiddlesticks or what have you, because you need to do something with hands, you need to replace it. So what are we replacing it with? Well, for a start, you're going to decide what you actually want in your life. And I know that's a big thing, and most people are like completely freaked out, because you ask a kid what they want, they know. You ask an adult, they're like, I don't know, make it to payday, which sounds a pretty shitty goal to me. So that's when we start deciding how we want our life to look like. And then we're going to start working out how we can get there, because you might not get there in a day. You might not get there in a week. It might take a couple of years, in fact. However, you can start being that new person today. Your outside world might not match it, but you can start being that. If you want to be a rich girl, you can start acting like a rich girl. Yeah, we're not going to go out and buy Birkins. What does a rich girl do? Well, she looks after herself. You can look after yourself. You've got water in the tap. You can drink more water. You can stop snacking. Get that cortisol down. Leave the donuts alone. You could start embodying these things. Oh, I want to be a successful person. Well, what would a successful person do? Well, they would show up in their business every single day. I want to be a good mum. Okay, well, what would a good mum do? Well, she'd be there present for her kids. Awesome. Kids come home from school. Phone goes in a drawer. I'm going to pay attention to the kids a little bit. She's going to make them a nice dinner. She's going to talk to them, play a board game after dinner instead of just sticking the TV on. There's things that you can do. You can start deciding to be that person today if you want to. The outside world might take a little bit of time to catch up. There's things we can do for that. But you can start. You can start deciding who you want to be. Because, newsflash, the person you are at the moment has been an amalgamation of what everybody else has told you they want you to be, like your parents, your teachers, society. Everybody has told you who they want you to be. Now it's time for you to decide, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? You get to decide, because guess what? If we're in a simulation and you're a sim, you're in control, my darling. You get to choose. You can have cake for breakfast if you want to, and there's nobody to stop you. Tell the others. So I want you to start thinking, okay, now I've got some space in my life. What would I like to fill it with? I've been in a play recently, the House of Bernard Alba. It was awesome. You missed out if you were near Grimsby at Caxton's Theatre to see that. You fucking missed out because we were amazing. And hello to all my Bananarama cast members that may be watching. Miss you guys. We had so much fun. I do miss you. And Lammy. I missed Lammy. One of the characters had a little lamb, Hazel. Oh, she was amazing. I loved Hazel so much. I miss her so much. But we all loved Lammy backstage. But you see, doing a play is actually quite time consuming. However, because I've set up my life to replace the crap that I had before with stuff that I actually decide, I have the time. I can decide to say yes to that project because stuff comes my way all the time. And I'm like, no, 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 because I know the direction I want my life to go in. Am I there yet? No, because guess what? You'll never get there. That's a video for another time, but perfection is an illusion because nothing will ever be perfect because you're never at the finish line. As soon as you get to what you think is your goal, there'll be another one lurking over the horizon because you evolve into the kind of person that gets that thing. Now you want to evolve again. You're going to be like a Pokemon. You want to catch them all. You want to evolve to the next stage. So the person who you become in order to attain your goal now has got a bigger goal because they want to evolve again. So that's how that works. But that is a complete tangent and that is a video for another day. If you want me to go into that in more detail, do let me know in the comments because I do love your comments. The nice ones anyway. The nasty ones, you can go fuck yourselves. But the nice comments, I love them. They honestly make my day because I'm such a small channel. And if I've helped, if you've done something that I've said in one of my videos and it's helped, God's sake, let everybody else know. Let the rest of the gang know. So now that we've done the deciding, okay, you've decluttered enough and deleted enough in your life to make space for the stuff you do want to do, and you've decided the direction you're going to go in. Cool, awesome. But there's going to be stuff in your life that does actually work. Nobody's life is ever to the point where there's nothing, absolutely nothing that's working. You're probably just focusing on the stuff that doesn't work, but there are going to be some stuff that does. For example, you might be able to get your kids out the door to school lickety-split, no problem. You might feel like the rest of your life is a mess, but you forget that that is something that is hard for other people. Or maybe you've got your bedtime routine sorted out, or maybe your house is pretty awesome. You might feel financially you're falling apart, but the house, A1. Focus on what is actually working for you and streamline it. Systems is where it's at. We're not, in 2025, we are not setting goals anymore, we're setting systems. Because systems is what's going to get you there, my darling. And you might say, oh my God, that sounds so boring. Darling, you cook the same 10 things, so don't tell me about boring. So systems, we're not systematizing absolutely everything in your life. What we're doing is we're systematizing the stuff that is working so you've got more time to go and do the fun stuff, to go and say yes to that play, to go and, garden. Friend says, oh, let's pop to Milan for the weekend. Yeah, I can say yes to that. I mean, I don't have any friends that are going to phone me and say, let's go to Milan. I'd like friends like that, hint, hint. But I've got my passport ready. But if you are streamlining the stuff that does already work, you're taking those decisions again. We're taking those decisions out the way. We're Steve Jobsing our life. Our life is going to be wearing a black turtleneck from now on. It's going to be systematized so it works for you. So that might look like things like, oh, I'm going to start ordering my groceries online to be delivered because it takes me 20 minutes as opposed to going down to Aldi and spending 3 hours behind all the old ladies and losing my shit. Or it might be, right, I'm going to start meal prepping and having 3 or 4 meals in the freezer. So when I am busy, I can pull them out, still get a dinner on the table, and I don't feel like a loser. And the local pizza place is going to go out of business because I'm no longer using them. Remember, my darling, we're not going for perfection, we're going for 80% because nothing's ever perfect. But if we can get these little systems in place for the bits that are boring in our life, I use AI a lot in my life. I've done a video, by the way, and I'll link to that at the end. I can systematize a lot of my life and a lot of my work. And here's the big juicy gem out of this entire video. Your brain, it is not designed to be a filing cabinet. It is designed to be a creative supercomputer. It is supposed to be creative. You give it a problem, it solves it, it gives you the solution. But what most of us are using it as is a £2 squishy day planner. And that's not what it's designed for. If we can get a lot of these decisions and a lot of these systems and things that we have to remember out of our heads and into a system, so we don't have to remember them because it's a system, brain is now going to have that breathing room to go, right, okay, now I can get creative. Now I can find you a solution to these things. Now I can start paying attention to the fact that it's springtime and there's hyacinths out and etc., and just being like that. Your brain is not a day planner. It's not a to-do list. It's not a filing cabinet. Your brain is creative, so let it do its thing. Take all that stuff off its plate. Give it to AI. Give it to your systems. Give it to a piece of paper and a fucking pen if that works for you. Get it out of there. Make a system so it just runs and runs and runs, okay? Like a, subscription service, if you like. So you don't have to remember to keep, ordering toilet paper or whatever they've got. Fucking everything's on subscription these days. So I want you to remember, darling, that you're not lazy. You're not broken. If you are feeling this kind of burnout, it's because you've got decision fatigue in every area of your life, including the stuff that you're deciding not to do. That's still a decision. If you want my extra help, I've told you where to get it. It's all down in the description, down in the chatter pit. You'll want to watch this one next.